Hi there, it's Yvette from Awesome Dogs. I'm here with Karma today, and we're doing a video on something called overshadowing. I've recently done 2 blogs on this topic. It's really important because it affects so many different parts of dog training, well worth learning about. There's so many different variations and combinations to it that if you're not careful, it can really sort of get in the way of your training a little bit. And in the second blog, there was a type of overshadowing called spatial overshadowing that I wanted to show because I think sometimes things can get a little wordy and difficult to understand, and by showing you this concept, it starts to be really easy to see. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to do this video. The other reason is that I'm a firm believer during the training process that sometimes we have to step back and we have to sort of ask the dog questions, for lack of a better word. Like, I don't think I can actually ask her a question. But what I can do is I can see and ask sort of little behavioral questions, and I can say, well, how do you take this information and what are you going to do with it? So I'm going to show you how I do that and kind of how it works together with the spatial overshadowing. We're going to work with left paw, right paw. And it's a skill that I wouldn't say she knows perfectly, which is exactly why I picked it. I don't want to show you something that she gets right every single time. I want to show you something she's in the process of learning, so you can see her responses one way or another. So I have my treats, I have Karma, and let's get working on left and right shake and taking a look at what she thinks I'm saying to her. All right, let's get going. Ready, Mo? Let's go get it. Come on. I'm going to ask Karma if she understands that sort of basic left and right paw is her first question. This is the one that you see usually when somebody is wiping their dog's paws. So Karma, up, sit. Okay. Right? Yes. Left? Yes. Right? Yes. Okay, this one. So I'm going to ask her next question, which is, does she understand a pattern, left, right, left, right, left, right? Or if I make it unpredictable, is she going to understand that? Okay, good boy waiting. So I'm going to start off with left, yes. Right, yes. Right, yes. Right, yes. Left, yes. She usually does really well with this one as well. So now what I want to know is she hearing me or is she watching me? Because she could be doing either, and I don't know unless I try and isolate one of them out. Karma, sit. So what I could do is just offer my hand and see if she responds. So I don't need to say anything. So obviously I can start saying, I think it has something to do, not with my words, but with my motions. Now I'm wondering, maybe, is it my hands? And I could change it. I say, well, I could change it to my feet. So the next question I'm going to ask her is, are you watching my hands? Because if she answers and I'm using my feet, then it's not my hands. So this is what I mean by, say, ask questions. I can change something and say, how do you respond to this? Karma. Notice again, I'm not using my words. I'm not using my hands. But she's still doing the whole paw thing. It has to do with something else. And this is where the spatial cue comes in. So now I'm going to play around with the idea of a spatial cue. This is what I mean by asking questions. I know it's not my words. I know it's not my hands, and I can use my feet and she'll still respond. What happens if I start changing where my hands go, or my feet, either or? So if I think of it as maybe she's paying attention to where something is, that could be the thing that's most important to her. So let's see if she starts making some mistakes or answering sort of the question a little funny when I put that before her. Karma, hop. Touch. Good. So I'm going to start off with right. And she's correct, nothing different about that. I'm going to move more to her left. Okay, she still gets it right. But if I move over here, suddenly she's getting it incorrect. If I move back over here, so she's not actually cueing on my hand or my foot or my voice, she's cueing on where my hand happens to be. And now she's starting to get a little bit frustrated and trying to guess through what it is that I want. So if I really truly want her to start figuring out left and right, it's up to you if you want to or not. Part of it is starting to isolate it out. So I'm going to show you how I would start to drill it. Karma, come on up. Up, 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 up. Sit. So I'm going to work just on her right paw. Right? Yes. Right? Yes. Right? Yes. Right? I'm going to allow her to make that mistake. It's not a big deal. Right? Right? Yes. So even though my hand's over here, right, I want her to start learning it has to do with this word, right? Right? Yes. And she'll slowly start to get more and more correct. So it's really important to sort of chart and measure, right? Yes. Right? To see whether her success rate is getting better or staying the same, so that we make sure we're progressing in the right direction, right? Right? Yes. Right? Right? Yes. Right? Yes. And then I could do the same thing for the left, and then I could start switching them back and forth. So if you ask your dog questions just by changing little elements, you could start to realize that your dog's not actually cueing onto the things you think they're cueing, but it could be something as abstract as, where is the cue? So one of the reasons I love doing these types of tests or these types of questions is because it really helps me understand what the dog is taking in or what they're taking from the lesson. It can get very easy to assume that just because a dog gets a lot of right answers, so if I'd only done left and right and left and right and left and right, I could assume that Karma understood what I was asking, that you know, left meant left and right meant right. But if you really push those buttons and start checking, then it becomes obvious that what she's focusing on, it's not the word, it's not even my hand, because she'll do it if I offer a foot. What she's focusing on is, where is that command coming from? And what she's doing is saying, I'll give you the paw that's closest to the object near my leg. So that's why even the foot would work. And that's similar in the blog. I talk about the experiment that was used and the way they moved some of the cues around. So I'm just going to show that sort of idea of the spatial component, how important it is for her in terms of left and right paw. If I were to say to her, left, nope, I don't even know my left and right, so let's try that again. See, obviously she's not cueing to my word because that was the right side. Right? Yes. So that might be correct. If I did this, right, because the hand is on the other side, it doesn't matter that I said the word, she's just saying this location, that's what's giving her the information. And even if I changed hands, if I went, yeah, or right, my hand is close to that paw, so that's the one that she's offering. So the location of the cue is the thing that she's zoning in on. So I have two choices. I could be completely happy with that, and I could say I don't really care. It's still useful enough to me, but then I also have to make sure that I don't get frustrated when she makes a mistake, and I just say, yes, I understand that this isn't what she's picking up on, or I have to go through and say, I'm going to go through and fix this. That it's important enough to me that my dog knows left from right, which would mean kind of working through those elements and getting it a little clearer. So anyway, if you ask your dog questions, they're not going to lie to you in terms of the responses, and they'll tell you exactly, but the spatial one is kind of one of those interesting, unique ones that I just think is fantastic because it's so abstract, and unless you're looking for it, it can be a really hard one to spot. So what do you think, Mo? What do you think? Time to get your tenny? Where's your tennis ball? Go get a ball. Where is it?